What's happening, party people? I just wanted to give you a quick update on what has been happening. I'm very, very excited to share some great news, some very exciting news with you, and I wanted to put it in this form because if I could, I would love to call each and every one of you individually. I would love to DM you individually and share it with you because it's that meaningful and significant to me. But to be more efficient, I wanted to create this link so that I can get the word out. So most of you know that I started my professional career as an artist and an actor. So I was living in New York for many, many years and did that. I was off Broadway, I was on Broadway, I did film, I did television, and I had the privilege of traveling literally around the world getting paid to do what I love to do. Now, I'll always be an actor. To this day, I still do voiceovers. I still audition for the occasional film role. And it's something that will never leave me. Acting is a calling upon my life. I didn't get into it for fame or money. I got into it because I saw the purpose that my life could serve in telling stories and helping people to understand their emotions on a much deeper level and how to express those emotions. So I'm very grateful for that path. I transitioned because of some prodding and influence by the great Les Brown, the greatest motivational speaker of all time. He had been in my ear for a couple of years and just was very, very persistent. And so I made a transition into speaking. And it was a very quick transition, all things considered. I became a student and mentee of his. And because of his teaching and guidance, I found myself taking on that craft and really elevating it in my life to a professional speaker, doing conferences, doing keynote presentations, doing trainings for leadership teams and corporations. And that also has taken me around the world. And in the midst of that, I got introduced to entrepreneurialism and the world of network marketing. So some of you hear the phrase network marketing, and you may have a negative connotation, you may have a negative anchor to it, you may have a positive one. It really depends on your level of experience, exposure, and education. But basically, network marketing is where you take out the middleman, which is advertising and commercials, and you go directly to the consumer. So you have a representative, and they take the product and or service directly to the consumer. And when they do that, they get a share of whatever the commission is from selling that product and or service. And you can build sales teams doing it. So network marketing has been around for technically over 125 years, starting with Avon. Most companies have had some level of success. Most companies come and go. There's only a few that have been in the game for 35, 40, 50 plus years. There's a handful of those. And I'm sure you know them, Avon, Mary Kay, Amway, etc. So I got involved in that space because it gave me an opportunity to do something that I've always been passionate about, which is helping others and building community. And it gave me a chance to not only inspire and empower and educate others, but it gave me an opportunity to help people change their financial situation. So getting involved in that space, I became a ferocious student. I learned as much as I possibly could about the industry, and I committed myself to being the best version of myself that I could be and doing it at a level of excellence, because my 4 years at Morehouse College really instilled within me the power of leadership, the calling and the purpose of serving our community and being a pillar and an example. So whatever it is that you do, we were always taught, make sure that you bad. Like, you better be a bad man if you're gonna do it. So that was a Morehouse trait that was drilled into me. So when I got involved in network marketing, I wanted to really make a stamp, and I fortunately had the opportunity to do that. So long story short, I ended up building a sales team. I ended up building an organization of 140,000 plus people throughout the United States and in several countries around the world. And I was able to literally help 1,000 families generate a passive residual monthly income. That means they were earning a check every single month, whether they worked or not. I was able to personally help and develop over 24 individuals earn multiple six figures, multiple seven figures, literally changing people's lives, not again, just intellectually empowering inspiration, but also financially. And I submit to you that I would challenge you to look at your circle of influence, people that you know. And I would dare say there's probably not too many individuals that have had that experience, being able to literally build a sales force of 140,000 people plus and assist 1,000 families in generating a passive residual income. That's like my dissertation, y'all. So being in that industry, I learned a lot, and I really fell in love with the opportunity to help people. Unfortunately, in that industry, there's no barrier of entry. There's no regulation or rules, really. There's no governing bodies. There's no checks and balances. There's no accountability. So I was lucky in that the people that I was in business with were competent enough that we could get some things done. But at the same time, the people I was in business with, some of them, that competency hit a certain level and then it ran out. And there was no replacement plan. There was no plan of iteration. And so that company ended up going bankrupt. And it taught me a lot because I never imagined that in a million years that would happen, because you don't think about those things when you're having a lot of growth and success. So it was a phenomenal lesson. It was a great learning. And being in that space, I figured out over the next 2.5 to 3 years that it wasn't going to be the best space for me in terms of my value system, in terms of the principles and the leadership that I believe in and live by, and the opportunity to really help people create long-term, long-lasting success. So after a little over 12 years in that space, I decided to exit the space. Now, I will always be an ambassador for the network marketing space because I do believe there's enough good in it that people can still learn and get great benefit from participating in it. Now, whether or not you can generate a full-time income or you could really make it something that changes your life, that really depends on a lot of variables, and that's a different topic for a different day. I would encourage you that if it's something that you're seriously considering or you've just recently become a part of, just make sure that you do your due diligence and that you really check the boxes and you look at it from an objective standpoint. What's the probability, not the possibility, but the probability of me being able to generate something that is truly life-changing in terms of what you want, whatever those goals may be. So in addition to those things, I have continued to, again, as I said, do voiceovers. I have a coaching practice, so I work with individual clients. I continue to do keynotes and presentations, and I speak for companies. Those are things that are staples of what I do because it's just who I am. But finding another space where I could do the things that I truly, truly love more than anything else, which is what? Empowering other people, building them up, and changing their financial lives, I found that industry. And it's over 2,000 years old, so I know that it's got legs. It's a service in the life insurance space. So we are strictly focusing on life insurance and annuities. And the way that Nadia and myself are building this out is that, number one, we have partnered with outstanding leadership, principle-centered leadership, moral and ethical-centered leadership, and outstanding examples of excellence and results. Hundreds of millions of dollars earned, thousands upon thousands upon thousands of lives impacted in a positive way for those who are committed to passive residual income. And then literally, hundreds of thousands of people's lives forever changed because we have provided them with coverage. If you've ever been on social media, I'm sure you've seen people that have GoFundMe accounts because something happened unexpected and they were not prepared. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, we all know our birth date. None of us knows our box date. And unfortunately, a lot of people are uncomfortable having the conversation of what to do when they die. They don't even like to think about it because they think, oh, that's not for, years down the line. Nobody knows their box date. So one of the things that we do is, first and foremost, we educate. We educate so that people have the right information so they can make an informed, intelligent decision about making sure that their families are protected, that their legacies can be intact. Because it's better to have it and then not need it than to need it and not have it. But here's the caveat: everybody needs it, and everybody's going to have to use it at some point. So one of the reasons I fell in love with the life insurance and annuity space is because it's 100% usage rate. And because of the way life insurance has evolved over the years, Nadia, for example, recently had surgery to repair a torn ACL and meniscus in her knee. And her job gave her a certain amount of medical leave. Well, her rehab was much longer than her job provided medical leave. So once that income stopped, she was able to pick up the phone, call one of her policies and say, listen, I need you to send me a check for this amount so that I can continue to rehab without stressing about my money not coming in from my job. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the power of life insurance. If you know how to use it appropriately and you have the right policies. A lot of people just don't know. They don't know what they don't know. So part of what we do initially is educate so that you can understand the power of using and utilizing and positioning yourself in life insurance now. It's not only when you die. It's not only when you die. So there's a peace of mind that can come for any of you that are not protected because you think either you're going to live forever or you think that whatever you're doing right now is going to cover it. Even if you die, some of you have businesses, some of you have passive residual income, which is awesome, and you think that's going to be enough. Well, why would you settle when you can do better? Why would you create another expense for your family when it's not necessary? You understand? So getting educated is what I encourage each of you all to do. I wanted to tell you all this in this link so that when you're asking or say, hey, what's Ed up to? I know a lot of you just look at my videos. Oh, he's a motivational speaker, right? And that's great. There's truth in that. But that's not the bulk of what we do. The bulk of what we're doing is we are reaching out and connecting with families and individuals, couples, to make sure that they are protecting the downside and making sure that they understand what wealthy people have been doing for centuries. They have been protecting the downside and putting their money in life insurance because of the tax benefits that come with it. So schedule an educational session. They're a few minutes. They're not long. We keep it very simple. But in scheduling an educational session, you can get some information and then you can make an informed decision about how you want to move forward. And even if you already have a policy or two, again, there's nothing wrong with getting some greater insight, especially on the annuities front, because as you probably know or have figured out by now, 401ks are antiquated. I would not recommend having your life savings or your retirement attached to the market, because if the market goes down, so does your retirement. So learning about annuities and the power of annuities, where there is no loss, there's only growth, and understanding what that really means, get the information, okay? And for those of you that don't only want to carry buckets for the rest of your lives, meaning you're trading hours for dollars, but you want to create a pipeline, I would much rather build pipelines, because pipelines run 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and it's protecting the downside. If you're only carrying buckets, that means you only get paid when you carry the buckets of water to its source. Then guess what? There's only 24 hours in a day. There's only one of you. There's a permanent ceiling on what you can earn. There's a lot of wear and tear on your body, and you can only go hard, but for so long. Some of y'all are working 2 jobs, 3 jobs, because you're trying to make up that ground. Ladies and gentlemen, take the time to learn how to build pipelines. Even if you never do it, you can pass that information on to somebody else. And better yet, you can help myself and Nadia connect with other individuals who want to build pipelines and maybe they don't know how. So I come to you to say this. I'm very grateful for my previous experience. I'm super grateful to have had the impact that I've had on tens and tens and tens of thousands of lives around the world, and understand that I've hit the reset button. Nadia's hit the reset button. We're committed to really impacting even more and doing it at a much higher level. And when I talk to you about moral and ethical centered leadership, when I talk to you about next level leadership when it comes to producing and showing up at a higher level in your life, that is who we have partnered with. So if you want to learn more, I promise you, we have the best CEO leadership in the world. If I send you just some of the content and plug you in, if I share with you some of the events that our CEO has done for our company with the likes of the great late Kobe Bryant, Magic Johnson, Mark Cuban, President Bush, we booked Tom Brady for our next event, and then we had to unbook him because he unretired. We're going to bring him in later when he retires again. But if I could share with you the level of leadership in business, leadership in life, and impact that we're having as a company and the level that we're playing at, I promise you this, you're going to leave better than how I found you. You will leave the conversation inspired. You will leave the conversation and the exposure to our CEO, his mindset, his thinking, how he moves, and other leaders in our company. You'll leave just being better in whatever it is that you do. So whether or not you feel like, oh, I don't need life insurance, Ed, no problem. Let me share just with you some bonus information that will help you in your life. Let me share with you some of the things that I've learned and that I am learning. Not just from great people like Mr. Les Brown, but from our current CEO and some of the leaders that we have strategically partnered with. So I just wanted to give you a quick update. Thanks so much for taking a few minutes of your time. And I look forward to seeing you and having a conversation with you in person. Again, if you want to schedule an educational session, it's only a few minutes. I'm doing it with all of the people in my life who I love and care about. That I can add value to, then just give us a few minutes. We'll set you up, we'll put you on the Calendly. And if you just want to get some information and plug into some of our other resources on YouTube, we have an incredible channel for entrepreneurs and leaders, and it's all free content. I'm willing to give you that link so you all can plug into that, so you can see what we see. And we just want to be a service to you. So hit me up, 718-619-5699. Hit me up on social media, DM me, and I'll see you soon.